Welcome everybody, my name's David Lloyd, I'm supporter liaison here for Bristol Sport, and welcome to the first in what will be a series of fans Q&As. Today we're joined by Chief Executive of Bristol Sport, Andrew Billingham, who's going to answer questions that have been submitted by you, the fans. So Andrew, first question, how do you think the last 12 months have gone?
I think it's been a really progressive and successful 12 months for Bristol Sport. The stadium has started to be rebuilt, halfway through the £45 million stadium rebuild, which I'm sure we'll have some questions shortly about how we're progressing and what's to come.
Right, so we're going to come to the first fans question now, and this comes from Paul Escott in the Dolman stand. He's a Bristol City fan. He wants to know about the general policy towards flags at football matches.
Certainly flags are allowed. We've allowed them into the Atio stand, and it's been a fantastic spectacle for everybody to see. And we're going to allow them to the back of the Dolman stand and the back of the South stand as well, should fans want to bring them and hang them up. But we'll get a proper policy out on the website about flags in general. Right,
next question now comes from Mike Croker, who's a rugby fan, also Mike Spencer, David Woodward, Maurice Chivers and several other people. They say the tannoy in what was the lower Dolman was inaudible at some of the games, and the queues for the bar were dreadful. Are these just teething problems that you are in the process of addressing?
We're aware of the audio problem. We've actually got engineers on site looking into that, so hopefully that will be resolved over a period of time. Queues at the bars, the bars aren't fully complete yet, so there's lots of teething problems, Dave, and we're going to get through them. And I'm just thankful for fans for their patience, as we literally are building for the future.
Thanks. Okay, next question comes from Ian Smart, and several other people have raised this as well. Can anything be done about the silver crush barriers on top of the tunnel entrances in the new South Stand? They obstruct the view if you have a seat behind them, and we've also had similar questions from people in the Upper Dolman.
Yeah, we're not happy with them, and I know Martin Griffiths gave that feedback literally a few weeks ago. So we are looking at some solutions, and hopefully that will be over the coming months that they will change.
Thank you. Right, next question from Ian again. What's happened to the buy a brick scheme for the new stand?
Yeah, again, I'm fully aware of all the fans that invested all their hard-earned cash into buying a brick.
Yeah, I bought two myself, by the way, so I've got a very keen interest in this one.
So we have to deliver, as we do for everybody else that did. So we are looking at some solutions. It is a part of our phase 3 build, so when the West Stand is built, we've got a couple of options that we're looking at to integrate the fans' bricks into a walk of fame, or into a memorial walk, or into something that can really stand for something for fans, both football and rugby. So hopefully further details for that to come during the next year.
We'll move on now to Kev Webber. Now, Kev wants to know, has anything been learned about the chaos created around the time of season ticket renewals this spring?
It's quite a complex one, this, Dave. It's again, I'll probably allude to the fact that we are only halfway through the 2-year build, and I guess if you imagine the complexities that come with what we're trying to do here, not only we're rebuilding the stadium, but in terms of the Dolman, we added a brand new seating deck to the lower tier. So it wasn't replacing an old seating deck in terms of the same rows, the same seat numbers, to an existing upper tier. We completely rechanged that. But we're also putting brand new ticketing systems in as well. And what I was really delighted by was the fact that for the first time we were able to give supporters the opportunity to purchase their season ticket online. Over a third of people purchased online. So that's fantastic, and we need to get better at that, and we need to improve that.
We'll move on now to the next question from Lee Reynolds, Arnie Davidson, Mandy Ebsworth and various others. Will there be any seating areas in the Dolman Concourse? They say we also urgently need somewhere to put our drinks down, and will the Concourse be heated in the winter?
Okay, 3 questions in one, I guess. I think what we have to recognise, though, is that it's not the Dolman Exhibition Hall any longer. It is a concourse. There are exits and vomitories that come into that space. So from a safety point of view, we can't freely put tables and chairs out. We're not allowed to do that. But we are looking at it, and we will be implementing some seating over the period of time. In terms of being able to put your drinks down, the problem we've had at the moment is that the pillars are not complete in the south stands. We have some system that's going to go on. It's like a snap-on, snap-off system to be able to put your drinks on that will allow us to remove that for when it's a non-match day, so that we can have exhibitions here as well. Okay, the heating. Again, I think what you have to recognise from the concourse space is that it is open from both sides. So there is constant air circulating around. So to put a heating into that area will be very difficult because it just starts to escape. But one thing that we have done is that we've ensured as part of the build, we try and retain as much of that natural heat as possible. And all the way down the exterior, it's all glazed. So what naturally happens is the sunshine, when it shines, comes through the south concourse, and that heat is naturally regenerated and captured and retains it into the stands.
And just to go back to the seating point, it's probably worth pointing out that when the new sports bar and grill opens, that will obviously provide an area before games for people to sit down. Any idea on when that might be opening fully?
We're aiming for a mid-September at the latest. There's a lot more work that needs to be done to that. We want to make sure that when we open it, it's right and it's fully functional. And the aim at the moment is mid-September. I'm hoping that it's going to be earlier than that, so watch this space.
And the next question comes from Dave Woodward, who's a rugby fan. Will cycle stands be provided at the Dolman Atio end of the ground?
Yeah, it was feedback again that was given to me directly through Twitter, and we've got lots of provision for cycle racks at the south side, but we haven't got any provision yet at the Dolman, so we are addressing that, and there will be cycle racks coming there shortly.
A Bristol Sport app, is that something? Can you tell us a bit more about how that app's going to work?
It'll be a user-friendly customer service tool that will enable fans to understand how to get here, hopefully by a train station, how they can find parking, what food is on offer, how they can bet, and then there'll be some live content that will come through there as well, in terms of team news exclusive to their phones. There may be some pre-match interviews that we don't put out through the normal traditional facilities, but yeah, I'm quite excited about the app, and hopefully we can get that launched this year. If it's not this year, it certainly will be next year when the stadium fully opens.
Let's move on now to Derek James. He raises a good point here, I feel. He says there's a danger when introducing the new to forget the old, such as naming the Wedlock stand the South Stand, and forgetting the past. What steps have been made to acknowledge the contribution of both Wedlock and Williams in the new structure, and will the name Atio be eventually lost in future reconstructions?
Absolutely, it's important to recognise the history, and in terms of the South Stand, there are huge banners that are about to go up over the next few weeks that will really show the historical timeline of Bristol City up to the present day. But in terms of the new build, we're going to have the museum, and we've got certain artefacts of memorabilia that we've ensured that we've kept that will play a part in that museum. In terms of the Atio stand, it's certainly not on any plans of the future to change the name Atio stand, and certainly next year we're going to be putting up a brand new Atio, John Atio statue. So as far as I'm concerned, the Atio stand will be here for long into the future.
I've also got a question here from David Cottle, who's one of our wheelchair using fans. David says, I feel the club now have wheelchair facilities to be proud of, and they're set to get even better. But he says the club have so far done little to promote this. What steps are the club planning to improve communication with wheelchair supporters?
Yeah, no, that's great feedback, and I think that's something that I need to look into and ensure that we are communicating the facilities we've got here, because they are fantastic, and they're only going to get better as the West Stand is built as well. We're going to have higher level wheelchair bay facilities, which I think is actually quite unique in a sports stadium. So we certainly need to promote that, and it's something I will absolutely look into.
And the last question, though, comes from Rob Salisbury. He wants to know about the 5-year plan for Bristol Sport.
One of the things that attracted me here to Bristol was really the vision that was set down by Steve Lansdowne, and everybody that really wants to bring and deliver sports and success to this fantastic city. The stadium is the first part of that journey, and obviously that's a part of our promise to deliver the stadium and to ultimately fill so that we can generate more commercial revenues and we can invest that back into sporting success. But there are lots of projects that we want to get involved with, and ultimately they will all lead to inspiring sport in Bristol.